Meantime, members of Congress have heard some pretty astonishing testimony about alleged UFO crashes and retrievals. Now, the stories sound like the plot of a sci-fi movie, but are now being taken pretty seriously in Washington.
Such stories are not new here in Nevada, a state pockmarked by military ranges and classified bases. But if there are advanced spacecraft from beyond, why would they crash? 8 News Now Chief Investigator George Knapp has the story.
April 18, 1962, an unknown object entered Earth's atmosphere over Cuba, traveled up the East Coast, then made an abrupt 45-degree left turn at New York. It blazed across the heart of the U.S., was pursued by military jets, which could not keep up, then landed in a small town in Utah where it knocked out electricity, locals said, before taking off again. Somewhere over east-central Nevada, it exploded in a massive fireball seen all over the West.
Because it's a fantastic case involving not a few hundred witnesses, thousands of witnesses saw this thing as it traveled across the United States.
According to an Air Force intelligence report, one military pilot who chased the object thought it was structured, not just a fireball, and that it was gasping and sputtering as it flew. The Air Force's infamous Project Blue Book explained it away as a meteor, despite its highly unusual maneuvers. In the early 2000s, Las Vegas was the annual host to a UFO crash conference where the best-known investigators shared information about dozens of similar incidents. Ryan Wood was the conference organizer and wrote a book listing more than 70 possible UFO crashes.
The best cases are ones where we've had multiple witnesses, some physical evidence, multiple investigations by a variety of people over a long period of time.
Wood admits some of the tales might be disinformation or made up.
It seems inconceivable to me that once that this hyper-advanced technology came 1 trillion miles to crash in our backyard. Once, let alone this stuff keeps falling down.
If these are advanced craft from another galaxy or dimension or century, why would they crash here? Astrophysicist Dr. Jacques Vallée thinks an odd object that crashed in New Mexico in 1945 was knocked out of the sky by the Trinity atomic test.
But you don't hoax, a flying avocado weighing 5 tons that's going to hit a communication tower, take it out of communication, and then land under power and essentially create an avenue the size of a football field under power, And I mean, what kind of hoax is that?
In the spring of 1953, the Nevada test site was subjected to a massive atomic bombardment, the Upshot Knothole tests. In the same time period, across the state line in Arizona, residents of Kingman reported seeing a bizarre aerial ballet involving multiple UFOs, almost as if they were in a dogfight. 3 of the objects reportedly fell from the sky and were then scooped up by military units. Investigator Harry Drew thinks the craft were disrupted by an unusual and highly powerful radar array that was active then in Kingman.
The retrieval team arrived just in time on the 22nd of May when the Red Lake craft flying down the flyway from north to south ran through a corridor where high output, high energy, short pulse microwave radiation radar was installed and operating.
Oh, well, some of them are 100% intact and operate perfectly.
Former government scientist Bob Lazar, who claimed in 1989 that he saw an array of 9 bizarre ET craft in an underground facility near Area 51, said nearly all of them looked intact, not like anything that had crashed. He later speculated that some might have been acquired from archaeological digs, as if left behind long ago. Lazar's claims remain highly controversial, but our news reports about him and UFOs caught the attention of 2 men who would later have a profound influence on the hunt for UFO secrets and crash retrievals. One was a freshman U.S. Senator named Harry Reid.
I have heard about this exact story. I've heard about it as kind of a preview of your program. I'm visiting with you once before. I'm anxious to get the facts. I think it's something we should look into.
The other was Las Vegas billionaire Robert Bigelow. In 2007, Reed sponsored a secretive UFO investigation dubbed OSAP, overseen by the Defense Intelligence Agency and based within Bigelow Aerospace. It became the largest acknowledged UFO program ever funded by the federal government. The DIA contract specified that Bigelow Aerospace needed to make special accommodations so it could receive unspecified materials, though those materials were never delivered. At least two of the key players in OSAP were directly informed about crashed UFOs and where they might be stashed. When they tried to pressure the issue and see the goods, alarm bells were set off and the program was shut down for good. George Knapp, 8 News Now.
Now, Harry Reid wasn't the first Nevada senator to have an interest in UFOs and UFO crashes. One of his predecessors, 4-term Senator Howard Cannon, made his own inquiries years earlier. There has never been definitive evidence put forward that proves there are aliens on Earth. Are there secret teams assigned to the recovery of unidentified objects that fall out of the sky?
Well, the short answer is yes. Stories of crashed saucers stashed away in secret hangars really have been a staple in Nevada for more than 3 decades. But now Congress is hot on the trail, and 8 News Now Chief Investigator George Knapp has an update.
In the wee hours of May 14, 2008, an oblong object glowing turquoise blazed across the southwest sky. An ex-cop in Bullhead City was among the witnesses. Seconds later, a fisherman in a houseboat on the Colorado River saw it too when it landed with a thump on the sandy riverbank near Needles. The fisherman, who used the nickname Bob on the River, told us,
"It didn't look like a meteor. I've seen meteors before. It looked like a plane crashing."
Within minutes, Bob says, a group of 4 military helicopters descended on the site and spotlighted his boat. Soon after, a huge military sky crane appeared, grabbed the unknown object, and carried it away toward the Air Force ranges of Nevada. In the days that followed, someone used heavy equipment to clean up the crash site. In the most literal sense, the oblong craft was a UFO, unidentified. In the aftermath, the most likely explanation was that it had been some sort of advanced drone or spy platform that somehow got off the reservation, which could explain why the military arrived so quickly. Pentagon documents obtained through the Freedom of Information Act show the recovery programs traced their roots back to 1947, the same year as the Roswell crash. Rapid response programs dubbed Blue Fly and Moon Dust were eventually created so that any unknown object which fell from the sky, whether Russian or other, could be quickly snagged and analyzed. In the summer of 2023, the online defense publication The War Zone reported that an effort now called Foreign Materiel Exploitation is still very real and very active. Historically, the military's Foreign Technology Division has been headquartered at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, home to the rumored Hangar 18, where the Roswell wreckage was supposedly transported. Does the military have bits of technology from unidentified objects or entire craft? One source who blew the whistle is the late intelligence colonel Philip Corso, who was at the top of the U.S. Army's foreign technology program at the Pentagon, and who says he personally participated in a reverse engineering effort that tried to exploit the advanced tech obtained from the Roswell crash and perhaps other incidents.
They came from a flying saucer.
How do you know that?
Because they were marked on the files as coming from New Mexico.
Roswell.
Yeah, Roswell.
Physicist Dr. Eric Davis has worked on classified projects for the military and recently gave formal closed-door testimony to Congress. What he told congressional staff has not been formally released. Dr. Davis previously worked for Las Vegas billionaire Robert Bigelow, investigating unusual phenomena. He was directly involved with OSAP, the largest acknowledged government investigation of UFOs, which was based in Nevada. The OSAP contract made provisions for Bigelow's company to receive unspecified exotic materials. The man who designed the program, Defense Intelligence Agency scientist Dr. James Lakatsky, acknowledged in 2023 that the U.S. does possess at least one craft of unknown origin. An interest in UFO crashes is one of the primary reasons Nevada Senator Harry Reid began his long secret interest in the subject in the late 80s. Reid said multiple times that he was made aware that the Russians and Chinese were both pursuing their own UFO reverse engineering efforts in a race for the ultimate military technology.
If China, Russia, Japan, other countries are doing this, and we're not, something's wrong. He said, because if the technology we have, the way these things are described and the way people see them, if this movement took place in anything we have now available to us, it would kill everybody.
Reid was not the first Nevada senator to chase the same mystery. One of his predecessors, four-term Senator Howard Cannon, a decorated military pilot who was known as Mr. Aviation in Congress, told us in the 90s that he and his close friend, Arizona Senator Barry Goldwater, tried to get into Hangar 18 at Wright-Patterson to see the presumed UFO wreckage, but they were denied. Senator Goldwater made multiple public statements acknowledging he'd been turned away, even though he was chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee at the time.
The cover-up goes a lot deeper than that.
The search for physical proof of UFOs, maybe alien bodies, has now reached the point where it's a front-burner issue for some members of Congress. Intelligence Officer David Grush's startling public statements about crash saucers and reverse engineering programs hidden inside defense contractors and special access programs have been deemed credible and urgent. Grush learned about these programs because he was assigned to do exactly that. Can Congress ever pierce the veil of secrecy? Maybe not. There is a race for the technology, and from most of the sources we've developed, very little progress has been made in the 35 years since Bob Lazar's allegations were leveled. There are legitimate national security issues involved because whoever masters the secrets of these craft wins. George Knapp, 8 News Now.